Action.
Howdy, gonna do a walk around of the 1660 inboard jet boat that I currently got. This has been a complete project from bare hull, and really bad trailer to what I've got currently. I actually picked this existing trailer up from a scrapyard, rebuilt it, painted it, got to what we currently have. It's been awesome. I originally purchased this Fulton XLT 10.0 a few years ago, and it ran great until it didn't. And if you've ever had to haul your jet boat or boat out of basically no water in a river, it's a lot of work to do. And now that this has failed, I'm going to be going to a heavy-duty off-road winch. Because if you look closely on this, it's basically a winch. It's a winch system with the strap for the boat on there, and this wasn't perfect. I gotta do some updates to the trailer this winter, but overall I'm looking forward to a winch update for 2025. The hull is a 16 foot. It's 60 inches on the bottom, 1660. Overall it's 87 inches wide, and then with the addition of the hull that I transplanted off the Sea-Doo jet ski, it's just about 17 and change how long it is. I got the Garmin Live Scope set up on a Minn Kota power drive unit that I currently, it's okay. Got a few features to trick out on that yet. This is an Altera, 36 volt Altera. It's a 112. It's an older model, and I had awesome luck with it. It was great until I took it off to Loctite all of the fasteners that I had holding it onto the front mount, our front system. And then when I put it back on, the power cable and control cable actually got stuck, and I sheared off the cable off the control board. And then since then I've had nothing but problems with it, and I've only run it one time, and it failed after about 6 hours during a tournament. I modeled this boat layout off a Lund system and the front deck of a bass boat. I got a center rod locker, and then my live wells up front. It's a lot of space. It's about 8 feet, I think, from the front up there to this section right here. So it's a big chunk of the boat, and when we're fishing, we spend a lot of time up here. That's why I made it this big. It's awesome, and I love it. The compartments, I put a lot of compartments on this. I got it separated out with stainless, very thin stainless, and I did not get a TIG welder for this build. This is my 4th build. I'm gonna have to do TIG welding in the future. I have TIG welded before, but I didn't put the investment into purchasing it. So this is actually all stainless rivets, and it's worked out pretty well. And I've got a few improvements left to do on the entire structure, but we're getting there. The lithiums I got up front, I got 4 lithiums, 3 for the trolling motor and 1 for the accessories like the bilges and the trim tabs and the electronics, and we can show you that setup in a minute. I've got these Marine Saltwater Millennium Pro M seats. Really like them, really comfortable. This is something when you're running shallow water or rivers. This is a push pole, and we bent it this year, so I'm gonna have to go to a 1 1/4 inch conduit and build up another one. We've had this one for about 5 years now, and it's time to update. On the back here, we've got some boat buckles. I got rod buckles that hold the rods on the front and boat buckles in the back. These are great. I love them. Had them on a Ranger bass boat originally. And then had a porpoising issue on this boat. And when I engineered this Sea-Doo hull into the aluminum hull of the boat, it wasn't perfect, of course. And I didn't know if this entire concept was gonna work. I had a buddy that had done that, and I'll see if I can't link his video in here, but he had really good success with it, and he gave me some guidance on this system. He did a great job guiding me on that, but I didn't do a perfect job with it. So at about 35, the boat started to want to launch out of the water. And this is a 215 horsepower motor and a 16-foot craft. There's a lot of throttle response there, and it just wanted to jump out. So that was an issue. I could only do roughly 35 at about just under half throttle, and that would keep me set in the water. But if I punched it it'd want to do upper 40s or 50, but it would just come out of the water until I added these. And these are great. And I only spent about $100 on this entire system between the 2 actuators and the stainless hinges and the fasteners and things, but they work really good. And depending on where the weight is, like left or right on the boat, if I'm in there by myself, I can level the boat out, or if I got passengers, I can level that out. And when I got these, when you get them tuned just right, they added a minimum of 10 miles an hour. So I'll be running between 45 and 50, and there's no porpoising. And these, I think, are right around 9 by 11 for the contact area if you're thinking about purchasing them. And these came off of Amazon. They were like $40, and I think they're the 330 pounder. I got this is my waterproof panel up here. And I've got like live well fill, live well empty. I think this is the horn. Yep. And then there's a few other ones. The lights this is the lights. So if we're running the GoPro off the back, it's powered the whole time, which is great. And then I've got it all under power to one of them battery switches. So if I want to kill power, which I do when I get out of it, I just turn the knob, and that depowers everything in there. Let's see, we should open up the compartment for you, show you the engine bay and what kind of mad engineering I've got under there. And I built it like this because sometimes you'll blow a tube or something on your supercharger, and you'll need to repair it in the field. So you need to have access to stuff, or if we need to fill up, then I've got access to that, which is important because when you're only running a 12.5 gallon tank, we have to carry extra gas. So sometimes we're 20, 30 miles away from the landing, a tournament landing, but it's you got to be careful on how you conserve fuel. In here, like, we've still got some of the jet ski hull. So you can see that there's roughly 25 5/8 inch bolts holding the jet ski hull to the aluminum hull of the boat. And then we used an agent and automotive outdoor caulking to seal up the boat. So literally it's caulking and hose clamps preventing the boat from sinking. And that's all it is. Like jet skis, it's hose clamps keeping it from sinking. This is running a carbon seal on the main drive shaft, so that if you blow a seal, which I've done, it'll start leaking water, and it's kind of scary. So I'm running double bilges, and these are bigger bilges on the left and the right of the boat. I've had to use them, and it gets kind of sketchy. Running a couple of Garmin units. Oh, one other thing I need to say about the motor right here is we had to create this cold air intake box. And I overlooked this, even with the background of off-road racing and engineering. I didn't put the intake being cold air. So I ran like 5 to 8 tournaments sucking air from the engine compartment. And in August, I actually overheated the engine. Luckily it didn't damage it, but then I'm like, I can't believe I overlooked cold air intake system on the build, which I did do. I did install VTS, which is a trim system from Sea-Doo. It's an older system. They do have a newer stuff, but I installed that in hopes to trying to be able to trim the porpoising out, but it didn't do much. It helps launch and get up on plane quicker. It did help with that, but it didn't help the porpoising out. The trim tabs is what really helped the porpoising out. I run these tools. This is kind of our section when we catch or take care of fish, or for bait and tackle. It's like a tool, retractable tool, and of course your pliers, and we got big fishing, hook cutters and things like that if you catch muskies or things like that on accident. We're not specifically targeting them during bass tournaments, but it happens. This is my live well. I got some Iconelli inspired language in there, of course. And we don't have a huge live well. You got to be careful with how much weight you put in these jet boats. Like my old jet setup with an outboard, I added a battery and I lost 4 miles an hour. So it's you try to keep it, try to keep the weight down as much as you can. But the inboard jet with 215 really helps. This is the center rod locker. And like I said before, I really like Lund's layout. And I didn't know if this boat was gonna work, but I created a center rod locker. It's great. I love it. I definitely do it again. And I can store, if I ever have tackle issues, which I don't think I'm gonna in the future, I can store more on the center. My lithiums are up here in the front. I got 4 of them. And you know, they're strapped down and things like that. These are your Amazon specials. I did have this break on me the other day. I need to repair that this winter. And then, yeah, here's your rod buckles. So get to hold stuff on. And this winter, I need to actually install a better front bulkhead system for this weight up here. It's moving a lot, and I didn't really expect to hit those kind of speeds that we do. So it's taken a lot of abuse, and I need to be careful so I don't lose any of my equipment off of here. It's moving so much, and it's kind of funny now. It's a running joke. This Minn Kota deckhand that I got, I've used this for about 5 years, and in current it works pretty good, but it doesn't stop the boat all the time. And I use it a lot, and I wish they actually had like a Bluetooth switch that would lower it and raise it, but they don't have one. I want to go to Raptors this year in the future for the 2025 tournament season and beyond, and we'll see how that goes. Hopefully I can pick some up this spring or winter. And that's about, oh, I forgot to talk about the steering, of course. The steering is your typical Sea-Doo steering. The thing about jet boats that you need to be aware of, and jet skis, is the only way you turn is on the gas. So you gotta be on the gas to turn the vehicle. If you let off the gas and turn the wheel, you don't turn much, if at all. So it's kind of it's a different type of throttle control if you've never like raced off-road or driven jet propelled equipment. This is, so basically this was bolted into the chassis of the jet ski. I pulled it out, and I didn't want to get rid of this because it allows me to stand up and see the river for what's coming if I'm going upriver or downriver. It makes a really big difference being able to stand up and still throttle and control everything that I'm doing. Because I thought about putting a hot foot in here, but then that would require me to be sitting down the whole time. And since this is a 16-foot hull, I had to really get careful with my space. Like I only have an inch or so left to play with, and I think the next version, 5.0, I'm gonna be going with an 18 or 20-foot hull, 72 inches wide. A few problems with that we don't really have right now is if we get this hung up or it's super shallow, we can drag it off. If it's floating, we can drag it off. But a bigger hull like that might not be able to do that. This is, for anyone that's interested or is gonna be building one of these in the future, this is I believe it's a Kawasaki Ninja double bubble windscreen. It's a windshield off a street bike. And it's not clear, it's basically super dark. But I needed some type of protection against the wind, and this works really good. And it's kind of funny, like you get to steer it. It looks kind of different, but it works really good. This is my jet boat walk around. Excited to bring you more stuff in late 2024 and 2025, and we'll be bringing you with on our adventures. Hope you stick around, and thanks.